3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
All right, welcome to Roots of Reality. I'm your host, Ben Baumann, and today I'm going to be talking about the history of the illegal drug trade. So for many decades now, the illegal drug trade has spread drug addiction across the world. Because though a nation can make drugs illegal, it doesn't stop the demand for them. Thus, there is so much money to be made that drug cartels are constantly finding ways to ensure that demand is met globally. So going back in history now, since the 1800s, nations have been trying to combat the illegal drug trade. One of the first attempts began in China, when the Chinese government decided to ban opium, which is where drugs like heroin come from. And this drug was illegally being smuggled and sold in China by the British East India Company. And as a result, many Chinese people were becoming addicted to opium all over the country. In response, the Chinese government began doing more and more to try to stop the flow of opium entering China, which eventually led to the British government going to war against China to ensure that opium would continue to be sold in the country in a set of wars known as the Opium Wars, which the British Empire would eventually win. And another example of the illegal drug trade comes from the United States in 1920, when alcohol was banned during the Prohibition movement. And a major cause of the alcohol ban was religion and the idea that, alcohol, which can be problematic for society, was just causing a major disturbance in society, leading to violence and just immoral practices. Anyway, alcohol was banned, but unfortunately this had the opposite effect of what it was intended to have, and ended up giving birth to the American Mafia, which was made up by Italian Americans who had soon become the main supplier of illegal alcohol across the nation, once again, due to a very high demand across the country. And this led to a sharp rise in crime and violence and famous gangsters like Al Capone and Machine Gun Kelly. Eventually, the United States would give up on the alcohol ban, admitting it was a failure, with the ban officially ending in 1933. Now, finally, today, illegal drugs continue to be a major issue in the United States, which is one of the largest consumers of illegal drugs in the entire world. But the way that drugs enter America today is from Mexico. For example, the Sinaloa cartel, which has operated since 1990, has one of the most powerful drug cartels in the world. Is one of the most powerful drug cartels in the world and was previously led by the infamous criminal known as El Chapo. In turn, when it comes to the production of legal drugs today, the following nations lead the world. There is Colombia, which produces cocaine. There is Mexico, which is known for its cannabis production. Then Bolivia, which also produces cocaine. And finally, Afghanistan, which produces opium. So, therefore, in order to combat the flow of illegal drugs around the world, it's going to be very complex because a lot of these countries that have major issues with drug trafficking are also countries that deal with lots and lots of corruption. For example, Mexico, Colombia, Bolivia, Afghanistan all have tons of corruption in their country, which makes it very hard to crack down on the illegal supplying of drugs. And then, of course, on the other side of the coin, there's the ones consuming illegal drugs, like the United States, which clearly has an illegal drug problem, given how much demand there is for these types of things coming into the country. So overall, to solve this problem, it's going to take a lot of work between countries, not only fixing government corruption, but also ensuring that there is better cooperation between countries, and also making sure that a country doesn't have such a strong appetite for drugs. In the meantime, all people should be staying away from illegal drugs in general, because though it may be readily available, a life of addiction or potentially early death, especially with what we're seeing with fentanyl around the United States, is not a price you want to pay in the short time that we are alive on this planet. So as always, remember, billions of years led to you, so make the most of it.